Hello, Merry Me, all of everybody. This is MicheleMarieDalene, and of course, Dory Maryville. You know Dory, she's been on a few of my videos in the past. And let me, of course, will be asking questions, but also, of course, we will be asking questions to each other as well. And today's topic is about depression, of the various forms of depression. Because I know a lot of my regulars, some of you may have depression and some of you may not have clinical depression. And I cannot assume which ones do and don't, and so therefore we want to briefly touch base with all of you about what is depression and what is not depression. And obviously you will notice that we have on our table our little finger widgets to play with. That's because most Aspies like to keep their fingers busy. Okay. So now, what's the first question you want to ask? Why don't you describe what was going on in the last few days? Okay. The last few days I've been feeling kind of funky because after we did a video on what is evil, I guess Mother had allowed a negative entity to take root in my heart. So I could understand evil incarnate on a more deeper level. And I felt a sense of uncertainty if I was going to do a good job or not. And I began to feel that I was inadequate. And that I was going to mess up things every year and become the monster that some people may perceive me to be. And of course, after she explained to you a couple things that, you know, you needed to know. Yeah, she did. Mother explained to me that in some cases, is that she does not see me as an evil entity because I don't have the type of personality that would lead to evilness. But the depression that the negative entity had placed in my heart, she said, is indeed genuine. So what Mother did was, in the vision, she took me to a healing spring and gently caressed my whole body in the healing waters to help cleanse and purify my soul, which was been tormented of thoughts of inadequacy and not good enough. It's not traditionally what a lot of clinical depression involves, is feelings of inadequacy. I think so, but I have another person here, and I'm going to let her ask the same question. Why don't you ask her? Do you think it's feelings of inadequacy which was what is caused by depression?
Do I think, what? Adequacy?
Inadequacy.
What causes
I think you need to rephrase it a little. Okay. What I mean is, what you feel like you're not good enough. Do you think that feeling is caused by your depression, or do you think it causes your depression?
All right, I understand the question now. I have depression. And there is times that I feel that I'm not worthy to anything, but I try not to get depressed because I get really anxious and I feel that nobody wants me around. But lately I've been doing really well. I know I talk about my grandkids all the time. And my grandchildren are the ones who keep me going, and I love my grandchildren dearly. And that's my spirit to keep going on and trying to, because I want to see my grandchildren graduate high school, and hopefully can see one of them at least graduate college. That is my goal in life, and that is my cure for my depression, is to see them.
Excuse me, Rusty, could you please have a seat somewhere? You're like in the camera again. He's always
Rusty wants to be a part of the depression thing too.
Yeah.
But
unfortunately, I don't know what it can contribute.
Yeah, I take medication. Sometimes I think the medication does not work. But being around my grandchildren and my family, that is my medication. And right now I'm very happy
actually, I
with
think
my
I know
life.
how Rusty can contribute. He's already contributing in his own way.
Who knows? Maybe animals have depression too, and we don't know it.
Yeah, they do. But I think there's a difference between clinical depression and just occasional depression. I watch a lot of commercials on TV for different products, and I think the one with the Abilify commercial is kind of interesting. Not so much the concept of taking an antidepressant for your antidepressant so much, but the fact is that the science, they don't really know what causes depression. You mean to tell me you guys have been working with medical field psychiatry for all these years and you still don't know what causes depression? I just don't understand that.
I often wonder. It's our world, like our what I'm trying.
The environment.
No, it's not environment. What's going on in the world? Like, people always want to kill themselves, and people want to hurt other people, and we hear all that, and we get very upset, and it makes us very depressed. And the holidays are coming up, and people get very. That's one issue where people get depressed, because there's a lot of people that don't have families, and that's how people get depressed. And I know a lot of people right now that don't have family, and family's a big thing.
You know what I think makes it harder when you talk about families and the holidays, and is that you're right. I don't have family. My family threw me away,
and I think that's very wrong, because we all know that Michelle has her own little problem that she handles every day.
Yeah.
And
most of my viewers know about that little problem, because a good portion of them have been around since I started out.
And I've been hanging around Michelle for quite some time now, and I've been getting to get to understand her little. I don't know if she's talked about it to you people, but that's not my place to say. But Michelle has a lot of issues going on with that, and I went to a program in Middlebury, a couple weeks back, and I learned a lot about depression then too, because each one of these people did a skit of their own depression and how they deal with their depression. There was this one person that struck me very, very. It kind of like touched me because of Michelle's situation.
Right.
But we all know Michelle. Michelle, is it all right if I talk about it?
Yes, it's already on. People already know about my situation on the internet here. They already know about it.
Okay.
Me and Lemmy have talked about it over and over again.
Well, we all know Michelle is a hermaphrodite that wants to be a female.
Actually, I was born a hermaphrodite, and for those of you who don't know, me and Lemmy did discuss this in the past. Basically, what a hermaphrodite is, it's a medical condition. It's where you are traits of both male and female. And
this person that I'm talking about is also basically the same way, but this person is a female that wants to be a man,
right?
And she's struggled with that many years.
She's transgender, you saying, or she's
in the process of changing.
All right, so that's transgenderism and transsexuality. Okay, go on.
And she touched my heart, because I talked to her and she was very, very warm about it, and she wanted to be open about it, and she just was very happy that people listened to her and understood her her depression. She was very depressed, and that has a lot to do with it too. That her family didn't understand it, and basically that's what Michelle's going through. And depression it can affect us in many, many, many different ways.
Well, it's funny you mentioned depression. I mean, you probably don't realize that I too have depression factors as well. I mean, from what happened to me in Kamppi, Finland, certainly was no picnic by any stretch of the imagination. I was also ostracized by my own family.
Do you have depression, kitty cat?
Oh, yes, he gets depressed. I know him.
And Michelle too. I can understand one of her other depressions right now, because Michelle just lost her, not by death or not by anything horrible like that, but Michelle's best friend just moved away, and Michelle's dealing with that.
Yeah, there's a bit of emptiness there.
Yeah, very emptiness, and I come here too, and I kind of get, because he's not here either, but he was a very, very positive person for Michelle.
The difference is that, I mean, in this case, what we're talking about is we know that his moving away with his girlfriend was for their best interest, and that we must respect that.
Right.
And I think that one of the things that really makes it hard for me is that, I had gotten used to having him around, and I do miss his company. But sometimes me and him don't always get along either. But I guess that's part of humanity. Some people, it's even harder though. Like, okay, we mentioned about the person who is a female to male transgendered person, and then we talked about my hermaphrodite situation. Why don't you talk about your situation real quick? Well, my biggest situation is when I grew up in Kamppi, Finland. It was a time of the Age of Enlightenment, when in the 19th century, and there was we were taught that science had the answers to everything, and I always had this mission to be the Snow Queen, and because I loved winter like Michelle does. In fact, I was Michelle's predecessor in this area. Whoa. And Rusty, what in the heaven's name are you doing with the paw? Oh, he wants to play now. On camera.
See, he's depressed. He's depressed.
He's depressed, but he's also playing games with you right now. He's bored.
Are you bored, Rusty? Are we boring you? Oh, he left.
Anyway, we'll finish if I may. Okay, go ahead. My father and my mother wanted me to marry the butcher's son, because my father was a grocer in town, and he wanted to get involved with the butcher's family, because the butcher had money. And so he said to me, my name was Brigid at the time. He says, here, why don't you marry? I think his name was I don't remember his name right now. It's a long time ago, but anyway, he really was not really what I was looking for in my life, and I wanted to really focus on my work of being the Snow Queen. Now, back then, we did not have the technology like Michelle does today, but that's not the point of this video. When my father found out, my grandfather knew. My grandfather ended up going into the asylum because he was getting old and infirm. My grandfather was on my side because he knew that it was meant to be. My father and my mother threw me out of their lives, saying, I'm sorry, but Brigid, we cannot keep supporting a girl that is now 19 years old. You are smart. It's time for you to go get it. It's time for you to get on your own. If you're not gonna satisfy the family wishes of having you marry the butcher's son, well, then you gotta go. And I struggled, and I strived, and I studied hard to be a Snow Queen. But at the same time, I had to work a variety of jobs, from dishwashers to chambermaid, just to keep a roof over my head. Back then, we did not have equal rights for men and women like we do today. The Victorian era was extremely hard on women. we were asked to often pull twice our own weight and then some, plus raise a family. That's if you were lucky enough not to get stuck working the mills. Finland had, didn't they have a slightly different attitude than the British Victorian era? Not by much. But what in this case, what we're trying to get at is that the lack of family support, the constant pressures of daily grind was just grinding me down. If it wasn't for my faith and knowing that things would work out in the end, I think I would have probably been very poor at doing my job. It's just the fact is that you have no support network, and that really scares you. Yeah, I know. I think Dory would agree with on that too. Mm-hmm. When all this support disappeared, poof, like that. Mm-hmm. All your friends disappear.
Yeah.
That sends a pretty dark message to your heart. Well, we have to discuss why family does that. Why do family and friends do that to people? What is the reasoning behind it?
I don't think there is a reason why. I think it just happens as a part of life.
Actually, there is a reason, and it goes back to the time of Calvin and Martin Luther in the 1560s. Actually, it's a little bit back now. Okay, well, still, prior to the Protestant Reformation, there was some of these people believed that you can force change in a person by refusing to provide them with help and assistance that they need in their lives, and that you can, because you can refuse to help them, that they will want to change and come back to you and get help. Kind of like what we do with sanctions. Yeah, and where is the sanctions getting Russia right now? They're doing good while Europe's suffering. Exactly. It hurts the families too, more than it hurts the individual. Because the individual already has begun to feel that they have to do it alone. Whereas the families keep praying that that person's going to change, and it's not going to happen. The reason that concept goes back to the time of Protestant Reformation has to do with an area of something called shunning. We hear about the shunning in the case of the Amish, and Michelle's family did shunning, and what happened is it left Michelle basically supportless, and that really causes a lot of hurt. Yeah, it does. What causes depression? What causes people to 1 minute be top of the world and the next minute? I think you hinted at the beginning of it. What it causes it a lot of the times is just.
What is it? I said
it's the environment we're in. We're not living in the most happy times. It's not like we see on TV, we get this feeling that we watch TV shows, for example, and like a situation comedy, and you always seem to hear that the characters are all happy, that the problem is solved within 30 minutes. And it isn't. It's in real life. Most problems take a lot longer to solve than 30 minutes. But the point is at the same time, we're receiving these double messages. One, which is from the mass media, which is, "You'll be fine. Take this pill and call me in the morning." To the reality that nobody's going to be fine, more than likely, in less than 24 hours. And also the pressures of real life puts on people can sometimes push them into. Please don't get him all excited. We just got him to settle down now. Yeah, please don't. He's already got enough problems knocking my microphone around earlier. But I think that's one of the reasons why we're causing. And the same thing with the holidays too, because holidays is a good example.
Holidays.
Holidays is a very good example, because this is one everybody's, especially when you watch those TV movies like It's a Good Life and all this, and it's like, "Oh, looky, I got my dream train set for Christmas," says little Tommy. He doesn't realize that his father had to work 4 nights of overtime to buy the thing. you know. And the father knows that Tommy, who's 7 years old, is probably not going to have the train. He's not going to survive much after Christmas. Even though Tommy is responsible, he's a little boy, you know. So Tommy doesn't know how much effort about his dad had to put in to get that train set. Kind of treated the train set kind of as disposable. At the same time, you got the situation where, now of course, Tommy didn't understand about expenses because he was only 7. Now, flash 20 years in the future. Now Tommy's 27. And he's sitting there and he's got to find a job. He's paying money to taxes, his car payment, his house payment, possibly. Maybe he's just renting an apartment, but he's still got to basically pay rent, you know. And his girlfriend which is now his fiance, is got a new life, a little child on the way. And all of a sudden, he's saying, "Gee, how I missed him." Anyway, so I was thinking is how obviously you've heard my hypothesis. What I think depression is caused by. How close would you say it is to what you think might be happening?
To you?
To everybody.
Oh.
Especially using our little example there. Tommy, now 27 years old, and he's got a little son or daughter on the way, and he's struggling like a young man trying to raise a plan for a family. And maybe he's thinking back, as I said, 20 years ago when he was 7 years old, running around with his little Lionel train set. And how
I wouldn't call that depression. I would just call that thinking back and thinking like wow.
But some people get stuck in it, though.
Yes.
That's depression.
That's depression.
Is when some people get stuck in that past and they can't move ahead. Okay. So what is the best way to treat it? Is it only medical is the best way, or is it more, do you think we need to go for more?
Well, I can use myself for an example. I lost my mom. It'll be 12 years in next year, but she's been gone 11 years, and I took that really hard, and I just was like stuck there for quite a while. But I lost my dad 4 years ago this year, and then 4 years ago in December, I lost a very true friend of mine. He was my boyfriend, but he passed on, and it's taking me a very long time to forget both of deaths because I lost both of them in 1 year. I finally let go of my dad, and I finally let go of my friend because about a year ago I let go of them because I know that they wouldn't want me to dwell on the past and dwell on them, and that was my depression. And I just want people to understand that just because you lose someone, you can't go on with life. They wouldn't want us to do that. And I lost a friend, and I lost a lady friend this month.
Excuse
Actually,
me,
I lost
Cat.
2 people, three people this
sandwich.
month. But I mean, yeah, I'm dwelling on them, and I'm worried about the families and stuff. But I believe in that they wouldn't want us to dwell on them. They would want us to go on with life. And I know it's very, very, very hard not to dwell on that. But if it helps me to realize that they wouldn't want me to sit here and just stare at the walls and say, "Oh, I wish they were here. I wish they were here." Lay in my bed and don't do anything. They wouldn't want me to do that. I did that with my mom, but so depression. That's a depression. Worrying about how we're gonna deal with death, but depression is in many different ways. Michelle, what's your depression? How do you deal with depression?
Me, I play music. I do videos. I read the news, at least for a little bit. Even though it doesn't always help. The news never
lately
helps.
it's not helped anybody.
I pet the cat. I watch my cats. I take care of my cats the best I can. And sometimes I feel like I'm not doing a good job with that because there's fleas in here. They've been nibbling on me too, and I worry about that. But I can't fix everything in the world. So, I just try to deal with problems as best I can and hope that, that it's going to work out for the better. But actually, let me ask you a question right now, if I may. Is what do you think about the modern treatments for clinical depression, as well as we might also talk about seasonal affective disorder, which Michelle does suffer from. What do you think about the way science is approaching the issue of depression?
What do I think about science?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I really don't understand.
I think what I mean is that, do you think that the use of medication, specifically only medication, solves the problem? Or do you think a combination of medication and therapy helps?
I think the combination of medication, okay. Getting on medications. They have, I don't know if Michelle wants me to bring this up, but I'm going to bring it up because it's a medication that is becoming legal, and I know a lot of people are taking it. It's the legal marijuana,
right?
And yeah, marijuana is not legal right now, but they have the legal marijuana for medication.
Right, it's legal.
It's legal, and
it's not paid for a Medicaid, but
I disagree with that because, yeah, I like to smoke marijuana, and sometimes if I don't have my one medication that helps me think and helps me focus, if I'm not worldly. I'm not saying I smoke tons of it every day, but if I do smoke that little bit of marijuana, I feel a little better. And I'm not saying to go out and get high and go out and do that. I'm not saying that. And I think that marijuana is a relaxer. Just there's certain cases out there. I'm not saying to go out there and buy tons of it. I'm not saying that.
Did you
Michelle.
know, by the way, that Queen Elizabeth I used marijuana for menstrual cramps?
Yes, I do.
Yep.
I heard that, and if they legal it, it's gonna be helpful to a lot of people, but then it can be not helpful.
I think the problem is when you start talking about that is that it's true for anything. I mean, you can take too much, and and overdo it. I don't care if it's marijuana or if it's any over-the-counter or prescription medications. It's the same thing. I mean, you can overdo it.
You can overdo it on anything. You can overdo it on any kind of over the drug. You can do it. I mean,
I'm very glad now that medically science is starting to realize that medical marijuana certainly does have therapeutic value, and I do believe that they should change it from a Schedule 1 to maybe a Schedule 3 or Schedule 2 because it does have medical value. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I'm
not saying that I smoke it all the time. But it does help.
I actually don't smoke it. Because I'm in a room with it. I mean, just inhaling all the smoke makes me feel better, and that's
yeah. And
it makes my eyes hurt less, and I'm able to, focus better on the world around me. So I think that's a great thing. Mm-hmm. But even so, we're talking about medical drugs. She's got a drug commissary, if you will. I mean, she's got a full lunchbox full of pill bottles for a variety of medical conditions.
Well, Michelle, it does make it look like I'm a pill popper.
No, you're not a pill hopper.
But it's my blood pressure medication. I take blood pressure.
She's got type 2 diabetes.
I have type 2 diabetes. I take insulin, and I take pill, and I have cholesterol, and I have my depression medication.
I only take a couple meds. I take simvastatin and niaspan for my liver and for my good cholesterol. I take Synthroid for my thyroid, which quit working properly. I take Celebrex for my arthritis, and then
I wish I could be off of all the pills, but I need them because I stopped taking my psych meds for about 3 months, and I noticed a big change in me. I was snappy. I didn't like being snappy, and so they had to put me back on them.
Oh, she's trying to catch a housefly.
Yeah.
Anyway, but I mean, okay, so that brings the second question is, in some cases, would therapy be a good interim step for some people if they were not to go onto the medical bandwagon, if they were to use therapy to help with their treatment, to cope with their issues in their lives?
I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I can't answer that.
Well, I'm asking an answer from your own perspectives. I'm not saying you have to be a doctor. Remember, this is. I'm asking you to talk from your own thoughts, not quote medical journals. I mean, Michelle can do that for you. I probably could. I don't have anything right now on hand. So, if you were in therapy, do you think therapy would work for you to help?
I tried therapy.
Did it work?
No. I felt more depressed coming out of it. I felt more depressed coming out of talking to a therapist than I did when I walked in that door.
How does that work? How is that?
I don't know how that felt. I don't know how it worked, but I mean, I get more out of talking to my friends and talking with a friend, and than I do when I would talk to a therapist. I felt more depressed talking to my therapist than I did when I walked out that door. When I walked in that door, I mean.
Well, I think my case is because all my friends, for the most part, have left me for dead, except for a few. And those few I have don't really understand all the things that go on in my life. Michelle, even your therapist didn't understand everything that goes on in your life. No.
See, that's what I'm trying to understand it, and I'm like with the Snow Queen. Michelle's trying to explain that to me. I don't understand it completely, but I try to.
Michelle's therapist, basically, when she met me, she was like, I don't know what we're supposed to do with this. I mean, 2 souls in 1 body. She's flipping through her DSM-4, and she's trying to find out what diagnosis that would be. And Michelle said to her, have you ever considered practice it's not a disorder, it's an order? And she said, what do you mean?
Yeah,
it was meant to be.
Do you have Michelle, do you have a split personality, or is it?
No.
No. Is Lumi, did you make up Lumi, or
no.
Is it Lumi your personality?
No, Lumi is not made up. I can show you that. Of course she isn't.
No, I'm not trying to make Lumi mad.
No, I know you're not. That was one of the things that she tried to look under with a multiple personality disorder under the DSM-4, only to find out that it did not meet the criterion for DSM-4 for multiple personality disorder. And in fact, Hilary Speciale, after talking to Lumi for a few hours, realized that she is not only are we completely separate entities, we are basically, for all intents and purposes, a unit that works together. It's almost like a couple. She helps me in areas where I fail to succeed. She's got skills in areas I don't have. She kind of keeps me on an even keel. Sometimes Michelle can kind of not see the forest for the trees. Yeah, okay, I'll take that as true. And sometimes she needs another person's opinion too.
That's what you were? See right there. That's what Michelle's been saying, that she is afraid that she's going to fail her Snow Queen this year, And that's not true because Lumi is telling her totally different that she's not going to fail. And the Mother God, whoever, I don't understand. I don't understand Mother God, but maybe someday I could. But right there, Michelle, you just answered my next question.
Yeah, but it's not just weather, but it's after my friends that pretty much went to Florida and things like that.
But Michelle, move on. They wouldn't want you to. They wouldn't want you to sit here and think that you're going to fail what you believe in.
The funny thing was is that sometimes it had a positive ability to actually kind of keep me on an even footing because it kind of temper my abilities. But then when he originally put that curse on me 3 years ago, that almost caused me to commit suicide. That was not really a very comfortable thought at all, to realize that he wanted to deliberately destroy my work as a Snow Queen.
You ever stop to think maybe Ed was jealous of you being a Snow Queen? So you had that
I think so, but then again, when he had the experience with the Ouija board himself, when he was talking to Lucifer, you know him as the devil, he told Ed and confirmed that I indeed was a North American Snow Queen, and that I do indeed control winter weather. And he asked Lucifer what Lucifer thinks about me, and Lucifer says, I don't really like working with Michelle because she makes me uncomfortable because she works for Mother God, Mother Osna.
Can there be a Summer Queen?
Yes, there is. There's actually 7 of them. There's 7 districts of the Earth, 7 regions. In the United States, Mother Osna at this time had been acting as the summer stewardess. They're not called Snow Queens. That was more of an honorific in tribute to Hans Christian Andersen. I don't see why you couldn't have a Summer Queen. You could. There already is one. And that person is, in this year, the Earth and the United States was Mother Osna. She was acting as Summer Queen. Summer steward that's why the weather's been the way it's been. It's not been too hot, not too cold, because she knows that I can't handle excessive heat, but she also knows that people don't like to handle excessive cold. So she tried to find a compromise that was a balance for everybody.
Wish it would stay like it's been all year round right now, but it's not. I know it's not going to happen.
No, that's just a cycle of life. It never happens that way. It never stays the same year out. I think that if it was stayed the same way all year round, I think a lot of people would be very depressed.
Yeah.
Because those people would be constantly feeling kind of bored. Please don't tease my cat.
I'm not teasing him.
I know, but I got him to lay down and behave. I don't really want him to start jumping all over the place. I think that for the most part, human beings tend to. We need to see the changes to weather to help us to keep track of our emotional times, importance in the earth. I think it's important. The funny thing is when you talk about Michelle's weather work, a lot of people who would always say to Michelle, why would you want to be in control of something where it's icy and snowy and cold? And I think the reason Michelle does that is because it kind of matches the spirit in her heart. Not that she's cold. I mean, she's like a warm cup of Nestle's hot cocoa. She's not cold. But she don't drink Nestle's hot cocoa when it's 90 degrees outside. I do. You do. A little cocoa. I know. You got a spare tire in there. It's pretty big. I put 10 pounds back on. I gotta get those off. Mr. Cat.
We'll start doing exercises. When you're doing your videos, just start going 1, 2, 1, 2.
Actually, I'm hoping this winter is gonna be cold enough that we're gonna be going to do videos outside in the snow.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Be like the weatherman, all bundled up and really cool.
I like winter, and right now this camera isn't really portable, so we'd have to get another set, something else so we can put the camera on the porch and then tape it. Yeah, that's what I would do.
Well, I think depression is a very very important problem in the world. But we have our friends, and I think my friends right now mean a lot to me. So that's my healing right now.
I think the biggest problem right now with the depressions that people feel is they often say, and I've done it myself, when they say, quote, "You don't understand how I feel." And I know some people would say I know it's not that loud. Can you hear me out to that thing?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, the thing is don't mess with the knobs. Please don't mess with the knobs.
Well, don't yell at it. Holy cow. Woo.
Okay, you hear me? You can hear you.
I can hear you.
So, depression, though, I think is I mean, there's things that we do to each other that is hurtful, but I think that doesn't help. When with Lumi and I talked about with shunning, when families throw you away, I think that's really hurtful. I think that hurts people because the time when you might need your family support in your life, and then have them throw you away like yesterday's food scraps, kind of makes me feel like it just doesn't feel right. I mean, especially when you get this, cognitive dissonance like on TV, and you see like the TV show where when all the kids are having a hard time, and mom and dad are there behind their kids 1,000%, making sure that the kid's gonna finally be able to find happiness and succeed in doing something. I'm trying to come up with examples here.
The Brady Bunch.
Leave It to Beaver. Even some of the more modern shows, same thing, right? The kid has a hard time, and mom and dad is there 100% trying to offer them advice and trying to help them succeed. And then your real family, it kicks in, and your father basically says, "I don't want to deal with you," and then walks away from you. Same thing with your mother. And it's like, why can't we talk? I don't want to talk. Why don't you want to talk? Because I don't want to talk about it. But don't forget, Michelle, actors and actresses on TV, you don't see, for example, Mr. Brady. He's not talking to his kids about, I can't go on the camping trip this year because I didn't do as much money in my architectural work as I was hoping. Yeah, that's true. Just that kind of, we don't really have all the family details of the Brady household. We never really knew how he was paying up his mortgage or whatever, or how much was the utility bills costing him. It doesn't really talk about that. I mean, I think if we actually were to put the Brady Bunch family into the real world, I think we would find ourselves dealing with...
they would fail.
No, maybe not. But I can certainly bet his blood pressure would probably have been a lot higher. Mike Brady probably would have had to deal. Maybe he would have ended up possibly being a drinker, maybe a smoker. Not because of any other reason except
and Carol Brady too. She wouldn't be able to. She'd be depressed too.
Oh yeah, and then
Marsha.
And of course, Alice would be concerned too that she might find herself out of a job, especially with time it takes. She would probably feel very fearful that she's going to lose her paycheck. Mm-hmm. But we watch TV because those things don't happen. That's why we watch it. And then at the same time, we wish that things were that way in real life. I think that doesn't help with the depression either. No. Because this cognitive dissonance, which...
I think some TV shows are depressing.
Absolutely. I mean, for example, how much war and battle TV shows can you watch? How much television shows about guns can you watch? How much TV shows about going into a battle can you watch? How many times do you want to see the Viet Cong take over Saigon? How many? I cannot tell you.
Another thing too. Cartoons. cartoons today
are boring.
Boring, and they're depressing. I mean, I watch cartoons with my grandson on Tuesday nights. They're depressing. Ninja Turtles is a very, very violent TV show. That should not be on TV.
Oh, it was on TV in the 80s when I grew up.
Yeah, but it's horrible now. It's crazy.
Well, they're pushing it now more than ever, yeah.
I guess I can wrap this up.
And also, we used to complain that we used to say Bugs Bunny Roadrunner was violent. It wasn't really that bad. You know it was a cartoon. You know it wasn't real. But some of these cartoons, the resolution, the graphics is so...
Yeah, but Bugs Bunny, it had character. It was reality. What's up, Doc?
What?
Like, it was... Bugs Bunny was funny. That's what I'm trying to say. It was funny. The cartoons they have today are not funny.
Right. They were more like slapstick.
Especially
these cartoons are not like that.
Would you want to be called Beavis and Butthead?
I've heard of it. I've watched part of it, and I basically kind of stuck my tongue out. Went, ugh.
All right. Would you want to be called Beavis and Butthead?
No.
Okay. How about the other one there? The one with the...
What about Ren and Stimpy?
That's stupid.
Yeah.
Don't know if he's a dog or a cat.
Dog and a cat.
Cat dog.
And then there's also Cat Dog, right?
Would you want to be called Cat Dog?
No.
Why
don't you ask that cat there if you want to become Cat Dog?
Hey, you want to become a cat dog? Hey.
It takes it.
So even the cat don't be called Cat Dog. All right, let's get this wrapped up here.
Yeah, well, I mean, the thing is that what I find is that, and then of course, like I said to the lady and gentleman at Netflix, I said to him, I says, why can't you guys get some of the classic cartoons on? Why can't you get us things like Bugs Bunny, Wall E. Coyote, Chattanooga Cats, you know, the Archie Comedy Hour, the Brady Kids? I said, come on. I grew up with these things. I want to see them again. I missed those halcyon times when I was a child. I miss the Saturday mornings I used to enjoy.
Yeah, me too. 8 o'clock. 8 to 12. You could watch Channel 3. You'd be able to watch the Archies, the Brady Bunch, Popeye, all them shows. Now they don't have that no more.
Nope, they don't have them on Fox either. Nope. And they don't even have them on the BBC, really.
Nope. I
mean, I think that's the reason why a lot of people feel depression too. Is because everything that we used to use as a coping strategy has been contaminated by.
And not all the depression too.
Something.
I mean, people don't like change.
Oh yeah, definitely that causes depression.
Yep. There's a lot of things that can cause depression.
See, that's like what you're saying about with the weather. I mean, you're saying you wish it was warm all year round. I know that if it was warm all year round, I don't think I really could handle that. Because I always loved snow. I always loved cold.
I like cold. I like snow. I mean, but I don't
let me ask you a question, Michelle, because this is a great question. Now, let's say, for example, before you were even born, the weather changed where it was warm year round. Would you miss snow? I wouldn't miss something I never had. I mean, just like with my eyesight, I never had 20/20 vision either. And so obviously, if you were to ask me, do you miss having 20/20 vision? I can't say I never had 20/20 vision. Do I miss being able to see as clearly out of my right eye as I used to be able to? Yeah. But I mean, that was only 2200, and now my vision is... My right eye is stable, but it's not... I still got a cataract in it. But you still kick a lot of ass for a person with a cataract. Oh, I know. But, you know, in the case of the things that I love, I mean, I love winter, but I mean, I do like spring too. I like autumn. It's just summer. I guess especially after I put on a lot of poundage, I think summer really had become really hard on my body to the point where I couldn't really get as much done. But also I remember too, when it was summer, when I was a kid, my family used to try to do things outside. We used to have barbecues. We used to talk. You know, when my dad was working for Ovation Instruments in Hartford, occasionally would go on family vacations for a couple of weeks to the beach. I miss those days. But then it's almost like, I don't know. I still think about them now and then. But when it's mostly Christmas and the holidays, I really love the most, because I just love the snow and seeing my relatives and the food and the the music and the Christmas presents and Thanksgiving dinner and somewhat the same feeling for Halloween, which is coming up.
I love Halloween.
You love Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's wonderful. It's a wonderful harvest festival.
Can we do a Halloween show?
We got a Halloween show rescheduled on cable coming up on a few days after Halloween show. It's going to be coming out on All Souls Day.
No, I mean, can you and I mean, we don't have to do a big one, but when I come up again.
We'll see. Let's see what we can do for a few months.
Could we do one this weekend?
This weekend is not Halloween.
I know, but I know. We do a Halloween show.
Well, I don't know what we'd be doing a Halloween show on about.
We could do the Monster Mash.
The problem is we can't actually play music on TV. You can't, because of the Digital Millennium Copyright Act.
We can talk. Why can't we play?
We can talk about Halloween. We can discuss the holiday and its original meaning of what it was supposed to be, in relation to Celtic lore. We can certainly do that. But we can't play any music because of the fact that it goes under the Digital Millennium Copyright Act will not allow us to. And that's the reason why my videos sometimes just suck. They suck. Yeah, well, it's true. You want to talk about a real terror? There's the one for you right there. The Digital Millennium Copyright Act. It could be a whole new show on its own, right? Yeah, it could be. But I think, though, I'm going to get back to the original topic where we were talking about depression.
You can take this part out, the Halloween stuff. Take the Halloween part stuff out. I just wanted it to be funny.
I think one of the most important things that also helps my depression is, as you mentioned, how discussing things with therapists make you more depressed. Well, in my case, it's a step because it helps. In fact, it's helped a lot better than any medication does. I take venlafaxine in the summer for my seasonal affective disorder. And because I get sad in the summer. I don't get it in the winter. Most people get it in the winter. I get it in the summer. Sometimes they call it reverse sad. And in the summertime, it's almost impossible to get me out of bed because I just don't want to do anything. Because to me, summer feels like purgatory. It feels like hell. I just don't want to do anything in the summer.
That's true.
And some people feel that way in the wintertime, which is more common. And so I take an antidepressant which is prescribed by my doctor to help me deal with trying to get my serotonin. It's a SNRI. It's a serotonin non-reuptake
Yeah, but
inhibitor.
why do you stop taking medication in the winter? Why do you stop taking the medication?
Because in the wintertime, I don't get depressed as bad. But I'm not saying I don't get it. I do get a little depressed, but then it's not quite as profound. In the wintertime, Michelle uses other things to keep her busy. Her work is definitely part of it. Yeah, my work.
So if we wrap this up, I'm getting... Let's talk about how lovely this kitty looks.
She likes the cat's appearance. I like his cat's behavior.
Let's try if we wrap this up. Let's go check out this video.
You notice he's got this. Speaking of depression, My cats get depressed in the summer, wintertime too. I mean, Fame, for example, gets depressed. He lays there on top of the monitor. Just
I think Famous is Ed.
Yes, he does. I don't think Rusty really misses Ed that much, but I think he misses Ed too. And maybe that's another topic we could discuss real fast, which is related to that. When people move on in their lives or they die, you mentioned your ex-friend and of course Ed.
Ed hasn't died.
What do you do? I mean, what can we do when we lose a loved one?
Go on.
For a variety of reasons. From them moving away to them passing away.
Just go on with your life. I know it's hard, but don't dwell on it because it's going to just make you depressed more.
I know that, like I told Ed on the phone yesterday, is that I was hoping that maybe I could go down there in a few months' time and see how he's doing. But I'd have to see if we can get some money together. That causes another depression. Yo, kidding. Money! Or lack of money.
Money is a major depression.
Money. Always sunny in the rich man's world. Yeah, right. Until they get the credit card bills. But then they got the money to pay them. And the rich guys ain't paying no 20% interest. Nope. So let's start with that. Because it kind of ties in with the holidays. Like, for example, with little Tommy and his train set that mom and dad worked 4 days overtime to make possible is money. What I find so frustrating, especially with TV, is TV is always pushing it. As you always see these people in their houses on TV, and they live in these nice houses, and they got money, and yet the sad truth is a good portion of America doesn't live like that.
No.
And it's, I think it's kind of sad that there's this dichotomy.
Well, this is like last night I went to this thing at the Warner Theater in Torrington, and it was called Breaking Up Is Hard to Do. And they were like these little skits, and I can remember one of the skits that they had done, and it was about how our what's that word I'm looking? These people were protesting to try to get medical back and our different kind of stuff like that. Just a skit, and they were trying to get our medical back and stuff like that. And then they went into this high and power place where the guy was totally against it. He was trying to bribe the girl to do it, and they were trying to bribe her with money to stop protesting. And that's just like, that's depression. That's depressing.
Well, that sounds more what we would call a cognitive dissonance. Basically meaning that, Michelle, will you please stop with the big words?
I can't stand them.
Well, in this case, what it means, Sloan, is that there's a conflict of interest in this case. In this case, what Dory's talking about is the individual believes that she's doing the right thing. Yet somebody else is trying to offer her an enticement to stop doing what she knows is right. I don't know if the character did or did not do it or take the bribe, but let me tell you something. The sad truth is that we don't have to go through that in real life, too. We have to make decisions based on outcomes. I mean, like, we all want our children or our loved ones to be happy. I mean, for example, I think this cat would be tickled pink if I finally got in the veterinary and got him the shots. I think he'd be kind of physically sore, but he knows it would be for his health. but I can't even afford to buy underwear for me.
So can we wrap this up, please?
Well, anyway, we're going to wrap this up anyway.
We're running out of stuff to say.
Alright, so why don't we just wrap this up then? Alright, guys, anyway, here's the deal. You guys want to hear more about it? Get questions, topics, concerns, fears, anxieties? Want to talk about it? Send me a comment in the section below here. And please tell me if you like or dislike the video. I want to know what kind of video you want. So if you dislike something, or if you like it, let me know what. Also, we can see if we can work with that and try to make some improvements. And if you're not a subscriber, please do subscribe. It's free. And then you'll always be kept abreast of what's going on. And you want to say anything before you go?
I enjoyed doing these with Michelle. When I first started, I was very skittish, but Michelle's taught me how to speak my mind on that and how to understand a lot of things. So just let us know how you like it, and if you dislike it, let us know.
Okay. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.